Hey, my name is Doug Belshaw. Some people have asked me how to host a website on GitHub Pages. Here's what to do. Create a GitHub account. That's the first thing you need to do if you haven't got one. You just go to github.com and you sign up and you get an account. It's free. It's very straightforward and easy, just like setting up any other account. Once you've signed up and you've got an account, it'll look a bit like this. I've got some repositories there. I've done some stuff on GitHub, so I've got some activity. You won't if you set yours up new. Go to repositories, click on new, and you're just going to create a new repository. You might want to mess about first. I'm just going to call mine example, just so I can show you what to do. And I'm giving it a description, just an example of how to create. This is going to be a bootstrap themed website using GitHub Pages. Yeah, I really would recommend just having a play about first before you do your production one, as it were. It's always worth just messing about. Make it public, initialize the repository with a README, click go. And then you'll get this repository made, mine's example. There you go. We're going to clone it in the desktop, but you need to have that desktop app installed. So just search for GitHub download on your favorite search engine. I'm using a Mac, so I'm going to click on GitHub for Mac, and there it is. I've actually already downloaded it, and I've got it installed. So if we go back to where we were before, if I click on clone in desktop, there we go. It's going to take those files, or that one file that's in that particular repository, that collection of files, and it's just going to put it on my machine. Now I can have that repository anywhere on my hard disk I want. I've actually got a folder for all my GitHub repositories, which is probably a good idea, and it's just cloning it there into my GitHub folder. So there we go. I've got an example along with the rest of them. Now if I go onto my hard disk, if I go into that particular folder, if I go into users and then Doug and then GitHub, what I'm going to find there is that README file that initiated the repository. So there we are, GitHub and example, and then readme.md. MD is just a markdown file. You can ignore what markdown is for the time being. So there we are. I've got the same thing on my hard disk as it is on the GitHub repository. Now we're going to put a Bootstrap theme on there. Search for Bootstrap themes. I like Start Bootstrap. It's got some really nice themes. I've used that at Dynamic Skill Set. The one I use at Dynamic Skill Set is actually this one, this grayscale theme. But for the purpose of this one, let's use the freelancer theme, nice and bold. So you just go to there. It's free. You click on download, and it'll start downloading it to your machine. Once it's finished downloading, it's quite a small download. You just need to browse to the directory that it's in. It's a zip file, so you'll need to unzip it. Let's unzip that file and you'll get all of the files there. Now we just need all of those files within the directory, and we just need to drag and drop them inside that folder. Mine's called example, yours might be called something else. Once we're there, we've basically got a website pre-made for us. When we go back to GitHub, the app, it shows us all the things that have changed. We give a summary of what we're going to upload. So uploaded Bootstrap theme. We click on commit and sync, and then it syncs with github.com with your repository. And then when it's finished, if we go back to github.com and we go back to the repository for our files and press refresh, there we go. It's got all of those files that we've just downloaded from Start Bootstrap and then uploaded to our repository. So it's just the default version of it at the moment. It's just like the example freelancer theme. Now what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to create a branch. Now let's not get into the ins and outs of that, but basically you're going to need to create a GitHub Pages branch, and that's so that you can display those as an HTML site so that people can visit rather than just a collection of files. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to go back to our GitHub app, and we're going to click on branches at the top, and we're going to create a new branch. And we're going to call it gh-pages. And that'll just take all of those files and then clone them into a new branch called GitHub Pages. Now when we go back to, if we sync that, and when we go back to github.com, what we'll see is that in our example repository, if we press refresh, we've now got another branch in there, GitHub Pages, gh-pages. So now when I go to dajbelshaw.github.com /example, my website's there. It's just the freelancer theme, but there we go. That's how quick it is to get a website online on GitHub Pages. It's really, really fast. And you could just stop there, but I just want to tinker around with it just to show you some stuff you can do. Now, because it's HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, you can use any editor you want to change this. GitHub actually have its own editor, and the editor is called Atom. So if I just go to open with, you can see there's one there called Atom. This is, again, free to download, so if you just use your favorite search engine and you type in just Atom editor, you'll see that Atom's there at atom.io, and you can download that for free. And it's a really nice text editor and kind of HTML, CSS, JavaScript editor too. It's a code editor. So if I open that in Atom, that index.html file from our folder, then it'll load up Atom, and that's all of the HTML and CSS stuff that you'll need. So you can get very confused by that if you don't know what you're doing. You might want to use a visual editor, something like Dreamweaver, or text, whatever you use. Basically, there's loads of them on the market. But this one's free, and if you know some HTML, CSS, which is a good thing to do, then you can dive into it. So I'm just going to change this to Hello World just to show you how to do it. Then go to Save. Go back to your GitHub app on your computer. And then click on Changes at the top, and you can see that it's registered that that's changed. The red is what's been taken away, and the green is what's been added. And then added Hello World, just add that as a comment of what I've changed. Click on Commit and Sync. And it's going to make those changes. Then I'm going to go back to github.com and that repository. And there we are. And I'm going to click on Refresh. If it doesn't work, hold down Shift and press Refresh. And there we are. I've made that change. Hello World. So that's nice, you can make changes really, really quickly. A final word for those who might want to use their own domain with GitHub Pages. If you search GitHub own domain name on your favorite search engine, you'll find GitHub's help pages for setting up a custom domain with GitHub Pages. It's kind of beyond the pale of what I'm going to do here, but CNAME files, DNS, all that kind of stuff. If you're familiar with it, great. If you're not, it's a good chance to tinker about with it, really. Here's what I did with dynamicskillset.com. You'll recognize the grayscale theme there. I messed about. I had a MailChimp email address catcher there. And you can see that on the Dynamic Skillset GitHub page, it's just at dynamicskillset.github.io. There's some restrictions you have to do there. So that's it. It's pretty straightforward. Give it a try.